Hey everybody, Edo here, and this week I'm changing the release schedule for my league Kickstarter videos because I wanted to do a Kickstarter basics on the 3 or 4 days leading up to a Kickstarter campaign. I've actually been wanting to do this for a long time, but I timed it so I'm doing it the 3 or 4 days leading up to the Herbaceous Kickstarter, right? So actually I'm going to talk about a lot of things, and if you're interested, you can follow along and see how I do the things that I'm going to tell you you should do when you're preparing to do your Kickstarter, right? So hopefully that actually makes it more helpful. Hopefully that even might be a reason to be supportive, but nevertheless, let's see if I can get you some good information, right? Now, this isn't about how to make a game. This isn't about how to put a Kickstarter together and whether you should. It isn't about how to find a reviewer, or think through your math. That stuff should have all happened, right? So if you want more information on that, check out previous videos. This is really like you're planning to go live on a Tuesday, Herbaceous, Tuesday, August 23rd, right? And what do you do the weekend before, the day of, the day after? How do you plan that? How do you think about it? It really is that period of time. And one thing that's critical, it's really important to successfully launching a Kickstarter and dealing with it. Tons of stuff starts happening when you go live, especially if it's the first time you've ever done it, right? It is an intense, wild period where you're getting backers and people asking questions and like all of this chaos is happening. The best thing that you can do to deal with that situation is be organized and prepared up front. Is to have everything in place so all you're doing is hitting the go buttons in different places and you're not worrying about like, what should I write? What should I say? Who do I need to reach out to? You want to have that list. And let me show you something. Here at Pencil First Games, when I do stuff, I work on paper. This is like a to-do list for my general stuff. And then here is a to-do list specifically for the Herbaceous Kickstarter. And hey, look, I have a calendar for the campaign, right? Like, this is handwritten, simple stuff. No program. Look, I use social media. I do videos. I run Kickstarter campaigns. I understand how to be digitally connected in Google and Dropbox and all, Instagram, Twitter. I understand those worlds. But at the end of the day, you just need a good list of the things you got to do, and you just got to go do them, right? Like, that's it. And in fact, I'm going to use this paper. I don't usually keep paper up, but it's so detailed that I'm going to have it out. So I don't need my general plan because that's got all sorts of stuff. But, so first, having a calendar with the dates of the campaign, when it launches, when it ends, special notes about different days that are going on. I have my video posts in here for League videos. Those are important things to have, and it's worth doing. If you just look like 2016 calendar online, you can print one. And I just find it very helpful for planning an organization to have a good idea in time when things are happening. I really can't recommend that enough. It's simple and easy, and it really saves you when you're stressed out. I'll set that aside though. So you're coming on your campaign, right? And so one of the things that you want to do when you're probably heading into the final week, the final 3-4 days, right, is first you want to hit that submit for review button on the Kickstarter page. One of two things are going to happen. They will look through your page, and hopefully by this point your page is mostly done, but they will look through your page and determine whether you need to submit for review or you can just launch. You really need to do that because if you don't get the just launch, even if you've already done a Kickstarter before, for some reason or another, it might happen. If you're going to go through that review process, it can take up to 3 days. I think I've done it before and it's taken 1 or 2, but you don't want to be launching on Tuesday morning and decide, oh, it's Monday, let me hit that button. I'm sure they're just going to let me launch. Don't be silly. Do it the Wednesday before, the Tuesday before. Give yourself some time. It's not launching your page. It's just, making sure that, whatever their checks are, but you're not going to launch when you cook it. They're going to check it out, and then they'll let you know if you're good to go or if you need a review. if you need a review, get the review. So that's an important one. The other thing you're going to want to do is you've been reaching out to reviewers, talking to them. Some of them have given you videos, some of you haven't. But heading up into last week, you do want to do a touch base with them. Let them know the campaign's coming. Try to get a good sense of when they're going to give you that review and if you can get it unlisted and on there. That's probably the only timing you need. If you're going to do any ads or otherwise, it's also good to have that lined up. Usually, like say you're doing Board Game Geek ads, you're gonna if you're talking with Chad or whoever, you're gonna want to just make sure that they know when your campaign is going to run. Okay, so you want to do your reviewer pulse check. Then sort of heading into it, you're going to be thinking about what sorts of things you can do to get a little bit more promotion going in. So you're probably going to want to a really good one, probably 4 or 5 days out, is to provide a link to your Kickstarter campaign on board game Kickstarter groups who can give you good feedback. You don't want to do it the day before, right? You want to have enough time to address their feedback, but you want to be far enough along that you're not just getting, you want pointed, constructive feedback on things that you can do. If you've never done a campaign before, you might want to do it 2 weeks out. I usually like to do it 1 week out. In this case, I did it last night. I'll link it below as well, but that's the Kickstarter page. For a select group of people, they can check it out. They can't back, right? But you can get feedback from them and see what needs to be refined or improved in your final weekend leading up to it. So that's a really good thing to do. Also, you'll want to have a little social promotion leading into the campaign, so there is some awareness. You might want to say, do a blog post if you're able to, or you might want to, I don't know, do a league video in reference to your campaign. I mean, those are there is some, part of it is that, right? But I also hope this is helpful to you guys. And then in that final weekend, I like to do some sort of, recently we brought Keith on to do the single player rule set for Herbaceous, and I've been playing it, so I'll probably post pictures this weekend of me playing it and make some reference to that, right? So you want to get people aware and thinking about it. I like to do that on the weekend, in this case, on a Tuesday launch. I like to have Monday be a quiet day. I can't say that that's good, but I do it because one, you want to get your head in the game on that Monday before your launch, or whatever day it is, but the day before. And two, I think you want people to be aware, but once you're in striking distance, you just want people to hit and click. So I'll usually go quiet on that last day, and then there's going to be a lot of reviewing. So that weekend heading in, I am going to write any and all. If you have other campaigns, you have those updates ready to go to those campaigns. You got to be really careful about reaching out to previous campaigns. It has to really be relevant in how you want to do it. Like in one case, there's Heroes and Tricks, which hasn't fulfilled yet. That's a major thing I have to consider. Now, fortunately, as I've been planning these things out and working through and getting better, we just completed all of the art for Heroes and Tricks, and I just got that to Watts for final proofs, and we're 3 months ahead of schedule or so. So the good thing is I'll send an update and say, hey guys, that thing that's really important to you, absolutely on track, moving ahead, and by the way, there's this other thing, right? As you go into further back campaigns, you really got to think about whether or not it's relevant to those people. I think it's something you got to be careful with. Do you have a newsletter? I have a newsletter. It's the Pencil First Games newsletter. I'm going to link it below. If you want to see the newsletter I'm going to send out for the Herbaceous Kickstarter, you should subscribe to the newsletter and watch. And then you can unsubscribe if you don't want it, but get an idea of what that is. That has been building over time. I've been, whether it's from at cons or Kickstarters or, it's a growing list of people who like Pencil First Game stuff because we try to do a good job, right? So that's something you're going to want to do. And again, as you're going out, you're going to want to think of lots of different ways over the life of your campaign to continue to give it juice along the way. And so thinking about how you can add to the community, write blogs, designer blogs, production blogs, podcasts, all of those things, you should have already been reaching out, but you want to continue because you need this big spike at the start, but that doesn't mean you don't want to continue to have things coming out. So even if you don't have it lined up, you can continue to pursue that. And at this point, you should be able to share a Kickstarter link with those people so they'll be able to see it and see that they really like it and they're interested, and that might help. So the next thing that I'm going to do, and I have it listed here on this paper, it says review Kickstarter. basic rewards story about. I'm going to go through each tab, not on Monday, not like, I mean, it could be on Monday. So I work. I have a full-time job. So part of all of this is also being able to speak. I have to compress. Monday's not really a full day for me because I got to work. So, and I got to work on Tuesday. So, when and how, your timing works to some degree has to do with your free time. But you are going to want to review the Kickstarter. You got to go over the basic stuff. Make sure the basics tab's right. The rewards tabs, the story tabs, the about tab. Double check all of your assumptions and your math. What you shouldn't do is some crazy change that was unplanned that weekend. It's really dangerous. I've done it on campaigns. Oh, somebody just said I should reduce my price by $5. Do it. No, be careful. You've been planning. You've been thinking. You've been preparing. Don't just make some out of the, just be careful. Just be careful. But, somebody's going to say, you don't have Euro shipping. What are you going to do for European shipping? You got to figure it out. Be careful. Be careful. But, so you're going to go through that Kickstarter page. The next thing you're going to be doing is you are going to be writing every single email you are going to be sending on Tuesday. Before Tuesday. You're going to write it on Saturday. Because you don't want to have to think about what you're going to say and type when you're in the when it's on, right? When it's on, you got to be on the field playing. You can't be worrying about what you were going to say. So you want to write an email to your team, letting them know it's up, letting them know to promote, thanking them for all of their hard work. You're going to want to have that together. You're going to want to have your email that's going to go out to your reviewers. It's going to say, hey, reviewers, we're live. Here's the link if you didn't have it. You want to have that one together, right? If you have ads that you're going to be running and people who are waiting, you're going to want to have that. You want those things to just be send, and you want to be on top of it enough. You want to have double checked enough that you don't even have to read it. You wrote it, you triple checked it, and on Tuesday you trust yourself and you hit send. Right? You want to be that far along, right? And then again, anyone else you might need to be in touch with or otherwise. After those email things, you then also are going to write all of your social posts. What are you going to say on your Facebook page? What are you going to say on a board game group page? What are you going to say on, if you have a different game on your game page or your company's page? What are you going to say on Twitter? What are you going to say in the different Kickstarter groups? What are you going to say on Reddit? Though, unless you are a regular Reddit user, don't just post on Reddit. You want one of your backers to see it and they'll, some active person. If you are an active person and you're on Reddit every day, go for it. But if you're not, just wait to see if somebody else does it. But you're going to want to have your Twitter stuff and your Google Plus and all, whatever forums or whatever you're going to do. Think through what that day of event is going to be and have it ready. Just have it ready. And if you have any other promotions, right? So you're going to have, on that weekend you're going to be reviewing your Kickstarter. You're going to be preparing your emails. You're going to be walking through what you're going to say. In doing all of that, you'll find things that you may have missed, questions you might have, all that stuff. All that stuff, okay? One little question is, a lot of people sometimes ask about whether or not, you should have everything day one, should I have all my reviews? The reality is, on Kickstarter, you want those first 2 days to be as successful as possible. You want to drive engagement, you want to drive funding, you want to be as far along in funding, if not funded, if you can be, and you want to bring it, the more people you bring in earlier, the more people who are in and part of your campaign along the way. It is better to have those people then than to just get them at the end. So you do want to over-powder the launch. However, if somebody's coming in late, or there's for some reason you're going to do other podcasts, it's still good to continue to have energy and engagement there. For me, PacificCon runs during that, so I'll be that's a local con, and I'll be there promoting it and that kind of thing. So then I have this next. So I take a piece of paper, I fold it in half, and then I fold it again. And the first column is for that pre-stuff I just described. The middle two columns are split, and I have times on one side and things I'm going to do on the next. And the last one is for Wednesday and Thursday. So on that left side, it says 4:30 a.m. Wake up. 5 a.m. Email check because I got a lot of stuff going on. I don't want to be dealing with work. I need that stuff to be aside. So I'm going to go through and clear all that out. 5:15, I'm going to do final checks on the page, reality checks, double checking you set your alarm, stuff like that. And then 5:30 a.m. Kickstarter launch. So if you're watching and you're tracking along, that's PST. Kickstarter Herbaceous is going to launch. It might be 5:45, it might be 6 a.m. We'll figure it out. But I got to get all this stuff done before I got to run off to work, right? So that's part of it for me. But then on the other side, I have all the things that I have to do the day of in line, right? I need to have the YouTube. You should be putting your intro video on YouTube if you have a YouTube channel. Any how to plays, and they're going to be held under. I'll make those public. I still use KickTrack, so day of, you enter your campaign, and you get their little day of KickTrack image, and you drop it in. That's no big deal. Again, then I'm going to send that team email. I'm not going to write it. I'm just going to send it, right? I'm going to send that reviewer email. I'm going to launch the newsletter to go. I'm going to put the Facebook post up. Then I focus on the Herbaceous Facebook page, and I do all that, and I pin it, and I probably put a little bit of a boost, a little, nothing big. I mean, I'm not a big ad spender. I might spend $25 juicing a Facebook initial boost. I'm not going to spend $500 on Facebook ads, right? So I'm not suggesting that, but I like to, whether or not it even does anything, it's just fun to push the boost button and feel like you're at least boosting a little bit. Anyway, so going to post in Google Plus. And then part of this is about thinking about sort of this cadence of hitting different places, never hitting the same place twice, not overdoing it. You don't want to be the guy that posted 15 things at once. It's hard. You get some clearance on launch. People are like, "Oh, he just launched." Okay. Seriously, you do get that a little bit, but you can't be doing that constantly, right? So you got to sort of think about that. If I'm on top of stuff, I'll come back at lunch and maybe do a little lunch update. And then I'm going to come back end of day. I'm going to do some more evening posts and Twitter and conversations, and then focus on writing my day one update. Whether I send it out that evening or in the morning depends on a few different things, like if we just funded or something, or if we depends on what it is. But normally I'll have that ready, I'll prep it, and I'll send it the following morning. Because what you want to do is drive day two engagement a lot, right? Day one is going to be strong, and you want a strong day two, and you want everyone from day one to help you on day two. After that, I slow it down unless you have an explosive campaign. I have never had a campaign that is funded on day one. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, but they've had different degrees of success along the way, and some have required more work than others to get done. Then I have that follow-on stuff. I will probably do a Facebook ad. I will probably do a Twitter ad. I'll respond to messages and backer notes. To date, I'm still a guy that likes to respond and connect with each and every backer. I think it's super valuable. I think it's important. I like to do it. I've never had a campaign with 5,000 people, right? I mean, I have no objection to people I don't have the time to deal with my crazy success. For me, I think it's still this personal thing where you're thanking, engaging, and building relationships with these people, and I try to do that with each campaign. Some people care, some people don't. And then you're going to, as you work through the day after and the day beyond that, you're going to slow down and be okay. So just write things down. Just make lists. It doesn't have to be more than a pencil and paper. But think it through, be prepared, do as much as you can in advance, and then day of, breathe, be ready, and go. I've provided the link to the Kickstarter now. It's not even live, but I provided it on the Kickstarter group, so you guys and gals can look at it too. Hey, maybe there's something you see that's new or different, right? Don't share it, right? It's not live. I'm not asking you to share that link, please. I'm just saying, if you want to learn more. And two, I'll have a link to sign up for the Pencil First Games newsletter. 3, I'll have my usual information for me. And if you are on the Board Game Group or Board Game Geek or on different places on the internet, you can watch and see when and how I do things and how I'm executing against this plan and when those things are happening day of. Yeah, of course, I'm talking about a Kickstarter campaign that's going live and I'm working hard on it, but really, I really honestly felt like this would have the most impact as a video for people if they could have some tangible connection points to something that was happening when it was happening. Honestly. The other cool thing, I'm going to do this again at the end. on the last 3 days, talking about what you should keep in mind the last 3 days. So hopefully this will act as a bookend on first 3, last 3, and then I can focus on other topics. So thanks a lot for watching.